So welcome everyone. Good to see you, we're delighted to be here at this beautiful facility in Brentwood. I'm Bill Doherty, David Blankenhorn with Better Angels, we couldn't be happier to be with you today. At the end of a 3-week tour we've been doing, where we've been doing workshops, so we're warmed up. We're warmed up, which is not the same thing as tired. Do you understand? Just warmed up is different from tired.
We're in a zone.
That's right. That's right. So if you would look at your agenda, it says workshop participant agenda. I'm going to read the goals, and then we're going to have introductions. Julie, I'm going to be starting with you and the introductions here. And so the goals are more understanding of the experiences, feelings, and beliefs of those who differ with us in today's politically polarized environment. The second is discovering any areas of commonality in addition to differences. And the third is learning something that might be helpful to others in our community and the nation. So more understanding of others, discovering any areas of commonality, and learning something that might be helpful. Those are the goals for today. We're going to begin with introductions, and then we'll do ground rules, and then we'll plunge into our first exercise. So, introductions. So, your name, where you live, whether you're here as a red or blue, and briefly why you came to this gathering. So, name, where you live, whether you're here as red or blue, although people can see it from your name tag, but it's all right, it's it. And why you came to this gathering. And if you could do that in a minute or a little less, but not much longer, and you'll see during the day we have some things we sort of time, and so the minute would be at the end of a minute, if it looks like you're gearing up for your next major point, then I will sort of quietly look at you and say, could you close it down, okay? So, but feel free to take your full minute for you.
Bill, would it be okay if I said I'm here because somebody invited me?
Yes, and then I'll say, and why did you accept the invitation? Okay. Yeah, so you can tell we've heard that one before. Okay. So would you start, Julie?
Yes, my name is Julie Gordon. Am I supposed to look at you over here?
Wherever you like.
Julie Gordon, and I live in Hendersonville, North Carolina. I was raised on the south side of Chicago, so there's quite a difference in that. The second one was...
And so whether you're here as a red or blue?
I'm here as a blue, and I am here because I am deeply concerned about the level of incivility and hostility in our nation today. And I believe that we, the people, can do something about it. I think it's up to us. And I think we need to restore the respect that seems to be missing. And I think it can be done through listening for understanding. But I think we must do that and restore our respect to restore our country. And I feel very strong.
Okay.
Excuse me, can I ask people to speak up?
No, sir, you cannot. So the observers' language, we're going to get to the observers. The observers, you're here, you're welcome here, but they're talking to each other. If somebody in the group can't hear, otherwise move up closer. Good, so you're next up. So your name, where you live, whether you're here as a red or blue, and why you came.
Hi, my name is Eric Dorman. I'm here today as a red. I live in Nashville, originally from Detroit, Michigan, and I am here to glean more understanding of the experiences, feelings, and beliefs of those who differ with me in today's politically polarized environment.
And you thought that was so beautifully phrased. If you want to add another sentence, you could.
Yeah, I think in the last election, I've tried to honestly face my part in bringing us to this point of polarization, and wanted to investigate that with people who hold different views from me. So I'm hoping that happens today.
Thank you.
I am Annie Solomon. I live in Nashville. I am a blue, and I am here because I am furious and angry, and I think it would behoove me to understand why the people on the other side are on the other side, because I can't fathom why people are on the other side. And so I'm hoping today might give me a little understanding and peace, maybe.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Daryl Siegler. I'm here as a red. I lean more a little bit purple. I'm wearing blue, so all of that is confusing. But I came today simply because I'm very much open to the conversation. I was invited, but I didn't have to accept. So to answer the question,
And you live where?
and I live in Nashville. I lived here for 8 years, moved to California, and came back. So I have a very interesting kind of perspective on things. And so I'm really excited about the free coffee and the conversation.
You left out the donuts. Beth pointed out the donuts. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
I'm Dee Senard, and I live here in Brentwood. And I always considered myself really apolitical. I wasn't interested in politics, and I would say that over the last few years, I've become much more interested in, and I didn't even know when I was invited which party is red and which party is blue. I'm identifying as blue. I've kind of gotten pushed into the blue from, I would say, the middle over the last year or two. And I'm excited to,
Because, yeah.
yeah, I'm excited to be here. I've had friend groups kind of split over very, polarized political views at this point, and it's difficult. So I'm excited to see where we can find common ground and work together as a unified nation to fix some very serious problems.
Thank you.
I'm John. I live in Brentwood, and I'm here today as a red. And I'm here to support my uncle, David over there, and also, I'm also tired of seeing so much tension and hate between everyone, and I just want to try and help find some common ground. I don't understand why we can't just all, talk about things without getting upset at each other. So.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm Rose Lundberg. I live in Bellevue, Tennessee, part of Nashville. I'm here as a blue. I'm interested in finding out what it means to actually be red or blue, because I'm not so sure I know anymore. And I'm just interested also in having a discussion with somebody who thinks differently than I do.
Good morning. My name is Lynn Hetty. I am a blue. I heard a quote a couple weeks ago that has just resonated with me, and it goes something like, the choices we make personally are a reflection of the kind of world in which we want to live. I chose to be here because I'm worried for our democracy, and I'm worried for the world in which we live. And I feel like unless we sit down together and figure out what's going on, we're doomed. And I hate to be such a fatalist, but I truly do believe that it's in our hands to fix, and I'll do anything I can to make that happen.
I'm Gene Wisdom. I am deeply red. I'm here because I'm a big disbeliever in bipartisanship, but I also deeply believe that the disagreements between the two sides ought to be discussed civilly and calmly. And interested in seeing how this happens.
Okay. And you're from?
Oh, from Knoxville. Just recently moved there from Nashville.
I'm Judith Scruggs. I'm a native North Carolinian, but I've lived in Tennessee and Georgia and other places. I'm on the fence. I believe in issues rather than sides. So.
And you're here because?
Because I believe in issues.
Okay. You believed, so you accepted this invitation to. So
Yeah, I want to see
why
how
this
we can
why
work
this
things
format?
out, how we can actually come to some common ground without having to push somebody into our own set of beliefs.
I'm Daniel Hausenka. I'm from Franklin, Tennessee, and I'm here because my friends Sam Nino and Grant invited me, and I know they know how to have a good time that's still productive, and I'm all about that. But I'm also interested, echoing a lot of what I've heard so far. There's a whole lot of hostility that I think doesn't need to be there, but I think that what causes the hostility is just not understanding where the other side's coming from or how they got there. But I believe most of us have good intentions, and if we try to, work together to fix some of the things that are wrong, we'll be able to get a lot more done, and that starts just by talking with each other.
Mm-hmm. I'm Beth Mallow. I'm from Brentwood. I'm about 10 minutes away. I am a blue, although I'm wearing purple. I found you guys when I heard the NPR podcast right after the election, and I wanted to get involved. I guess I'm an optimist, and I have been really passionate about getting involved in issues like Dee and I are working on. We made school start times a little later in Williamson County for our teens. And I love the diversity. I love the ability to meet other people who are different than me, because I think if we're going to make changes in our world, whether it's healthcare or gun safety or whatever, we have to hear both sides, and we have to, as people have said, find common ground. So I'm thrilled to be here with such a diverse group and excited about the day.
My name is Rosemary Duar. I live in Franklin, originally from New Jersey. I am a Red, and I was invited, and I'm actually very excited about this. I think this is more representational of what the majority of the nation feels like. Everything we see is the extreme polar opposites, and I truly believe that everyone wants the absolute best for our society, and I think this is the best way to optimize that vision. And this is a really great way to kind of focus on what the smallest actual minority actually is, and that's the individual. And I think we all want the absolute best for the individual.
I'm David Blankenhorn. I'm from New York City, and I'm here today to co-moderate the workshop with Bill. And with Bill and several others, I started Better Angels in 2016 because of just a concern, as many of you have said, with the level of rancor and ugliness between the citizens. I mean, forget Washington, but but also just us as citizens, the level of mistrust. And so thought it would be good to commit myself to helping to do something about it. So that's why I'm here, and happy to be here.
And I'm Bill Doherty. I'm from Minnesota, where we're in winter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure, you betcha, we say. So in addition to wanting to come to a moderate climate, I'm here because, as a number of you said, I am worried about our country. I grew up in an era where differences got worked out, and then people had coffee together and worked together, and it seems that we are having trouble doing that now. So I'm deeply concerned, and so this is the kind of place I want to be for our democracy. That's why I'm here. All right, so these are ground rules we have been using in our workshops, and we want to see if these are acceptable to this group. Number one, we're here to understand others and to explain our views, not to convince anyone to change their mind. So I'm going to be kind of looking for a nonverbal agreement or concern about that. This is a crucial one because if people feel like you gotta be different, after I deliver my eloquent spiel, it doesn't work. So we okay on that? Second, let's speak for ourselves and not try to speak for or represent any outside group. So nobody is here representing somebody, speaking for an outside group, even if you're connected with one. Is that okay? All right. The third, let's stick to the spirit of the activities designed for each stage of the meeting. Example, if the topic is what we each learned from listening to others, that's all we do then, even if it means resisting the urge to explain our own political viewpoint at that moment.
But what if it's a really important point that's been left out of the previous discussion?
Yeah, then at the break, feel free to share that, or at lunch. So when the most common two-part question we're going to ask when we do something separate, come back together and listen to each other, the most common questions could be, what did you learn about how the other side sees themselves, and did you find anything in common? Okay, so if that's the question on the floor, then what you're agreeing on this one, that's all you're going to do at that moment. You're not going to say, well, let me expand on my point, or let me say how they were wrong about that, okay? So this is saying we're going to try to stick to what's on the table, okay? So are we okay with that? Yes. Okay. Otherwise, it's standard stuff we all know, taking turns, not interrupting others, listening to everyone, opening up space for quieter group members, being respectful, as in no eye rolling or loud sighs when someone is speaking. Now you can see these are here for a reason, okay, because over time we have experienced occasionally people do the eye roll, and that's not respectful. And so we're, in other words, bringing our best selves to a difficult conversation. Are we okay with these so far? Okay, the last two, enforcing the ground rules. Do the facilitators have permission to gently help people make course corrections when they inadvertently veer off one of these ground rules?
I love that word, inadvertently.
Inadvertently. Okay. And so what that means is, if the question on the floor is, what did you learn about how others see themselves, and did you find something in common, and you start to say something else, then I will hopefully gently and gracefully say, what we're really doing right now is answering this question, and you're giving us permission to do that. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that was good. There's an old saying in group process that groups like to be facilitated and individuals don't. Okay? So I'm glad when you stop Gene, because he was out of line, but if I have a point to make. So we'll try to be fair and keep people on track. And then the last one is expectations for observers. We're happy to have you here. We have observers at all of our workshops, with the understanding that you won't participate verbally or non-verbally in the group conversations, but feel free to join in at the social times. And so what I'll also say, because somebody pointed out having difficulty hearing, if you're having difficulty hearing, moving closer, do what you need to do, but we're the group. And so what I'm most concerned, if somebody around this table can't hear, then we'll speak up. But observers, do what you can to maneuver yourself if you're having trouble hearing. Yes, ma'am.
Why are they observing?
Well, what we've learned is that a lot more people want to come to these than can. And there is a kind of multiplier effect when people come as an observer and they experience something sitting out there. It affects them. And they want to be in a workshop later, they talk it up with their friends. And that's what we've found.
Another thing that happens sometimes is that people who are learning, who want to become moderators of workshops, observe a workshop as a part of seeing if this is something they might want to learn to do.
Yeah, so some of the observers today attended a training yesterday on how to be a moderator. So those are the various reasons. And we found that most people tend to ignore who's the observer. We haven't found it hurts anything. So thanks for the question. Yeah. All right, so now for the first exercise. It's called a stereotypes exercise. So I'm going to describe what we're going to do. Then we're going to break into separate groups, and then we'll describe it again. Reds and blues are going to be in separate rooms, coming up with the 5 most common false, exaggerated, negative stereotypes of your own side. What do others say about your side based on, maybe from your point of view, lack of accurate information about your side? False, negative, exaggerated stereotypes. So what you're going to do is generate a list, brainstorming a list, and then you're going to vote on your top 5 of your own side. Are you with me on this? Stereotypes of your own side. And then you're going to come up with your top 5. And then for each of those, you're going to go through them systematically, and we'll be facilitating this. And you're going to first correct the stereotype. What in fact do you believe is true about your side? And then you're going to ask a question: is there any kernel or nugget of truth in it? That often the stereotypes are there for some reason. And so examples of kernels of truth or nuggets of truth could be that it's true of some people on your side, okay? That may be a subset the stereotype is accurate for. It may be that something in history may be there that would lead people to hold a certain stereotype for historical reasons. It might be that it's maybe a blind spot. It's not something that your side focuses on that much. Or it might be in the heat of public rhetoric, when people take this stand and this stand, it could be that the kind of heated public rhetoric can lead to a view that maybe your side doesn't care about something, for example, because of the sort of public stand. Those are examples. And I'll give you an example from an occupation. So I'm a college professor. And there is the stereotype out there that college professors are arrogant know-it-alls. And that is completely false. It's a dastardly lie. And I know better. Anyway.
But Bill, is there a kernel of truth to it somewhere? Perhaps with other professors, present company?
Yeah, so thank you, David, for that. So if I were honest, I would say this is not true as an overall stereotype. But, however, so this is why I did it for the kernel of truth. There are some folks that would characterize, and that fact my profession can attract people like that, okay? Right? So it's not an overall accurate stereotype. Most care about their students, and I could do a good job of correcting it. But then if I were honest, I would say, it's not out of nowhere, okay? So we're just inviting you to do both sides of those as best you can. After you generate the stereotype, what's true of your side instead, and then consider whether there's a kernel of truth.